Hello one and all, and welcome to another Superhuman Showdown on Grudge Match, the show that lets the tough guys of Marvel and DC come together and duke it out to see who is the best. Today's show takes to the skies and sees two of the premier aerial acrobats and winged wonders against one another. From DC, the Egyptian reincarnator, Hawkman, and from Marvel, the Horseman of Death, Archangel. These two characters are very vastly different in terms of their personal histories and motivations and personalities, but they are right neck and neck when it comes to their power sets. They have virtually the exact same standard sets of powers, as well as both relying on a psychoreactive metal to further enhance their powers that they've acquired over the years. So taking a look at Hawkman first, created in 1940, Hawkman was originally an Egyptian prince in ancient Egypt known as Prince Khufu, who discovered a Thanagarian alien ship that had crash-landed on Earth, and it was powered by a type of metal that is very famous in the DC universe known as nth metal. It has a lot of very interesting properties, including the ability to negate magic, various types of energy, as well as being the thing that drives all of Hawkman's powers. Now, once he discovered this nth metal back in ancient Egypt, he was very soon after killed alongside with his true love and prince, Shaira. The nth metal somehow bonded to their souls and allowed them to reincarnate throughout the years. So both Hawkman and Hawkwoman have both been reincarnated several times in the DC universe. The most recent incarnation is Carter Hall. He goes by the name Carter Hall, and an interesting thing about Hawkman and his trademark wings, they're not actually part of his body, not anything he was born with. The wings, as well as his armor and most of his handheld weaponry that he uses, is made out of that nth metal, the Thanagarian metal that has a lot of unique properties. One of those properties is that it's psychoreactive. Its abilities react to the will and mental instruction of the person who wears them. So his wings are made out of it, his armor is made out of it, his headpiece, the flail and mace that he tends to use, and this gives him a variety of superhuman powers. This increases his strength to allow him to crunch metal in his bare hands, increases his durability as well so that he can take on super strong opponents. Obviously, it gives him the power of flight, though he doesn't have to actually flap his wings to fly. It's more of kind of psychoreactive hovering that he can do through mental command. It gives him enhanced healing, it enhances his senses, vision and hearing, and the handheld weaponry that he uses is made out of nth metal, so it has the ability to negate magic when he uses it, so it makes him very useful in fighting magic-based opponents. Archangel, also known as Warren Worthington III, created in 1963, one of the original 5 X-Men members, alongside Marvel Girl, Cyclops, Iceman, and Beast. Now, as a mutant, he was born with wings, natural feathered wings, so he was actually born with his wings. And as his mutant powers developed, they allowed him, obviously, the ability to fly, as well as a number of aerial adaptations to his physiology. This meant that he had enhanced vision and senses as well, so that he could see at a great distance while flying. It also means that his body and tissues are very durable to allow him to survive the rigors of flying at very fast speeds, and also crashing and having any kind of problems in flight. He can survive those pretty well also. He also has a secondary mutation of an advanced healing factor that is a natural part of his power set that allows him to heal from any injury pretty quickly. Now, at a certain point in the X-Men comics, Angel was taken by the mutant overlord Apocalypse, and he was transformed into the being known as Archangel. He was brainwashed, and all of his powers were enhanced by Apocalypse in order to make Archangel his Horseman of Death. Now, the first and most prominent thing that Apocalypse did was remove Warren Worthington's regular feathered wings and replace them with techno-organic wings. Now, a lot of people think that he just grafted these metal wings onto Angel's back, but that's not really the case. They are literally a part of him, and it's almost sort of like the way Colossus's metal body is an organic metal. These wings are techno-organic as well, so they're not an artificial piece of weaponry just stuck to him. They're a literal part of his body that grows out of his body. And this has been seen off and on throughout the years in the comics. Sometimes he'll have the feathered wings, and sometimes he'll have the metal wings, and he can sort of go back and forth between them. He can change his wings at will from feathered wings to the metallic wings. The additional powers afforded to him by these wings, these techno-organic wings, is obviously they are metal, so they can work as shielding, and they can work as weapons in combat. He can cut enemies with them. And the feathers of them, the metallic feathers, he can fire them off like bullets, and they're all coated in a neurotoxin that can stun, paralyze, or knock out enemies depending on how many times he hits them with them. His other powers have all been enhanced by the transformation into Archangel as well. His strength and durability have all been enhanced, as well as his enhanced senses further enhanced as well. So, in turning him into Archangel, his powers all got jacked up quite a bit. So we can see that the power sets of these two characters are very comparable. Enhanced strength, durability, flight, and ability to fight in the air, aerial maneuvers, and that's the kind of fight these two are going to have against one another. So now that we've examined the powers, backstories, and histories of these characters, it's time to determine who would win if they were to ever collide in aerial combat against one another. And that winner's going to be Archangel. What really is the determining factor of this fight is what these two characters use as their primary way of attacking an opponent. And if you've ever read any Hawkman comics, he is first and foremost a hand-to-hand fighter. Even though he has wings and he flies, and he is a aerial tactician as well, he always uses swords, claws, flails, maces, stuff like that, and often likes to get very close to his opponents. That's going to be very problematic in an air battle. That's a good way to go about fighting when he has to fight ground-based opponents, as he most often does, but when he has to fight another flyer, it's going to be very difficult to get in close to somebody who can just as easily fly away from him. Archangel, on the other hand, his primary method of attack is his razor feathers that he fires off of his techno-organic wings that are coated in a neurotoxin. Now, Hawkman has armor that covers certain parts of his body, but not all of his body. His upper legs are exposed, some of his torso is exposed, underarms, stuff like that are areas where he could be struck by a barrage of these techno-organic feathers. And just a few of them catching him in his skin will be enough to put him down on the ground, to make him pass out, virtually paralyze him, leaving him at Archangel's mercy. Now, he does have an accelerated healing factor which would allow him to revive from them pretty quick, but any time spent unconscious or paralyzed is all Archangel is going to need to capitalize on that and win the fight. So in this match, it's going to go to the mutant Archangel, one of the original X-Men, and Marvel takes home the win of this grudge match. Message me down below, let me know what you think of the outcome of this fight, as well as any suggestions for future episodes. We'll see you next time on the next edition of Grudge Match.